What's good, everybody? Welcome to my channel. My name is JustClark, and it has been a minute. But today, I want to talk about 3 key points that I pay attention to, and you should also pay attention to draw heads in different angles. And after the end of those 3 points as well, I will be showing y'all a little practice that I do to pretty much put it inside this little brain of mine. So yeah, without further ado, let's get fucking started. Yeah. Okay, so I have made a video about this quite a while ago. Honestly, bro, time fucking flies. Holy shit. The main mistake that I was doing there is just all I said was an eye fucking circle. It's kind of indecisive, right? You do a circle, you do this, and you're like,
oh, okay, it's facing the front. You do this, boom. Oh, okay, it's facing front.
But the shape, there's not that much definition that I was not paying attention to, but now I do. But it's the shape of this hole in the skull. This is the first key point, and it's the eye circle, but also it's the shape, right? And the shape is like this. So now when I draw a head, when I draw the eye circles, I still call them eye circles, but pretty much this is how I draw the shape now. It already looks a lot better, and let me show you how you can turn it in perspective. You know, this is the more upfront, and when we look here to this from a low angle view, it pretty much just does this and gets rounder at the bottom. Now if I draw a head from a low angle, drawing the eye circle right here, it's gonna be like this, referring to the skull, right? And then we have the chin right there. Just shade that, add some ears, and then boom. And then if it's looking down, this shape right here, we're gonna see more of the brow, and then we're gonna see the bottom part is gonna flatten a lot more. Also, another tip, the direction it faces is kind of outward, so just pay attention to that so that it does not look flat, because as you can see, the center line right here, it goes in this curve, so pay attention to that. Remember that when you think the face looks a little too flat, that's probably the reason, or rather if the eyes look too flat. Looking down. Alright, if I flip it, it's shit, but yeah, it's not just any random shape, it's from this. We have the brow, and then we have this, and then usually the eye sits here, realistically speaking. So if you poke your eye down here, there's a dip. Alright, next key point. This is more concerned with drawing the heads in like 3/4 angles, like quarter angles, like this. With this thing, you don't just go like this, because that looks flat as hell, right? So the two main things for this is the brow and the cheek line. These two little bumps here. The brow pretty much indicates where the eye will start, right? And then the cheek, then jaw, and then like that. Right, now let me do a little bit more properly. And now everyone's happy, right? And then the next thing, which is actually a pretty good transition, is the nose, like that, right? And it's kind of connected to the brow, kind of like this part right here. We have that part. Obviously in the anime style, a lot of it is omitted, and it's just simply like that. Most of the times, you know, you don't put the line there because a little bit more detail kind of removes the cuteness of the face. But how I think about it, you don't have to draw the whole line, but then there's just this imaginary line, and then we put the nose. That's why usually you'd see when you look at drawings, end up looking like this. It has this little cut in its corner, and that is because of the imaginary line, right? Which is, a lot of it is omitted, and for me personally, I like to draw the nose like this. And also, it's not just the nose, but also the shape of the eye circle thingy. Eye hole. You know what? Let's call it eye hole, alright? I'm not into eye penetration, but we're gonna call it eye hole, right? We have the eye hole. Alright, alright, I'm done. Alright, we have the eye hole. I can't say it unironically. Alright. Eye dip. The eye dip. Alright. When we put it in perspective, the eye dip looks like this. And like I said, usually the eye sits like this, right here. And then, boom! Like that. So those are pretty much the 3 key points that I think about, which is the shape of the eye, brow line, cheek line, and then the protrusion of the nose. Now, a big mistake that I sometimes do, drawing the nose too big. So if I draw a character like, let's say, looking like this, I draw the nose super far out like that. The nose actually does not protrude that much most of the time. It doesn't even go outside the face up until, you know, you're drawing a side view character like that. If I'm going to draw, let's say, a character that's from a pretty low angle, say we have a character like this, how I would draw the nose would just be like that. Right, now let me clean this up so it's a lot clearer. Alright, now we have this, and as you can see, we have the nose. And it does not protrude as much, and it looks a lot cleaner, it looks a lot better. So don't fall into that hole of thinking that the nose protrudes a lot, because a lot of the cases, a lot of the times, it actually does not. And also another hole that I was falling into back then was strictly trying to fill up the space that the eye dip makes, but most of the time it is just a point of reference, and it also is a point of reference for how the shape the eye is going to be. As you guys should know, a lot of different characters have different eye shapes. Some are sharp, some are rounder, some are like slanted outwards, slanted downwards, and having just this knowledge of how pretty much the brow and the eye dip on the skull varies depending on the perspective, you can pretty much use that as a point of reference to manipulate how the shape of the eye will look. Now, the practice method that I do, which is probably not a surprise, but pretty much draw the head. First, you want to draw the head in up front. You want to be able to draw a head properly from the front, proper proportions. Well, mine's pretty much anime proportions, but you know what I mean. If you want to draw realistically, by all means go ahead. But yeah, so there's like a head up front, and then what you want to do is you turn it a little bit. You want to tilt it a little bit. Now this is where the brow line comes in, the cheek line comes in a little bit. It will not protrude as much at the start, especially in an angle where it's not tilted quite enough for a lot of the bones or like the facial structure to come out. Then tilt it again. As you can see, it's gonna start to protrude a lot more. This practice pretty much, one, helps you be able to see the head in 3D space, and secondly, It's gonna help you get a better feel of the proportions, where everything sits, and like I said, how much the facial structure protrudes depending on how far the head is tilted. And then let's draw a side. It's a good practice to do it on paper because 1, you can't undo, and 3, you can't tilt the canvas and all of that, which I instinctively do, but yeah. So a little tip as well for drawing side view heads is draw the circle, boom boom, center line, all of that. Draw first the jaw, and then you want to draw the nose up and then slant it back down towards the jaw again, and just add the lips. And if it looks wrong, you know, just try again until you get it right. That's what I do. Don't worry too much if you don't get it on the first try correctly. No, that's the point of practice. Practice is when you allow yourself to make all the mistakes so that when you need to perform, you already know the right thing to do. So yeah, just practice that, and then after you do the whole 360 with the like straight up look, you can mix it up, like do low angle shots, then mix it up, you know, like low angle 3/4 quarter, 3/4 quarter, huh? The fuck? Remember that the back of the head extends quite a bit more, so if you think the head looks a little flat or too round, just remember that the back of the head extends a little bit more. Now I'm gonna go ahead and refine a couple of these just to show you guys, and I'll be right back. Go cue the time lapse. Yeah.
Every time you say my name, hope I mean a lot to you, 'cause you mean a lot to me. And it seems we're falling through, but I'll never let you say a lot of things I didn't really mean. I don't wanna put a pill in my drink. I just want love, I'll do like anything. Do what you want, you push me to the brink.
Alright, so I'm back and I've finished pretty much lining all of these characters. They're just a bunch of bowed heads, but as you can see how much easier I was able to draw the heads in different angles. You know, I'll turn the head. I just fixed this a little bit. The jaw was a little bit too long, but that's the point of practice. Anyways, I hope that helps. I hope that these 3 key points will help improve you drawing heads in different angles, because it definitely has helped me being mindful of these 3 things. And also, if you're a little bit discouraged that maybe you've done this for quite a while and you're still not seeing any improvements, just know that just keep at it, because look at this, man. I got a lot of studies here. This was pretty recent. I've been studying drawing the head at a certain angle, which I actually drew today properly. And sometimes playing Genshin Impact, I just like to angle the camera towards the character in different directions, and then I use that as reference. And look at this. Oh, yo, I can't show that one. Okay, I can show this one. Yeah, like there's a lot of heads, man. A lot of failures. Takes a lot of failures before you get the successes. One page right here, another page right here, a bunch of heads, right? Got another one right here. It's a lot of heads, a lot of failed heads. It's like a full factory right here. Just keep freaking working. Like, that's a lot of heads. That's a lot of heads, my G. And a lot of Diona.
Ladies and gentlemen,
God bless.